I want to talk about the difference between the guidance that comes from your mind and the guidance that comes from your heart. I did a couple of videos around contentment and that being the key to coming out of the space of the mind, coming out of that mental house that we're living in with the criticizing, judging, labeling, DJ Judge, and using that contentment. So let's just talk about contentment for just a brief moment and what that may feel like. You know, we can say words and give you the words that you need to know to be able to do things, but if we don't tell you what that actually looks like or feels like or how you actually achieve that in an everyday life situation, it's not really doing you much good just to know, just to hear words like acceptance, allow, be content, relax, what's some others? What we resist, persist. Like we hear the language, we know the language. Many of you have listened to enough of these lectures and been to enough workshops. You know, you could write your own book. Like, you know the language. So knowing the language is not what gets you there. It's knowing what that means on a very, very deep personal level. Like how you actually apply that to situations, how you actually do that, what it feels like when you're doing it. So it's not the knowing it, it's the being able to do it. Now, I've been using the word contentment, and I really want you to understand what that feels like. So, contentment is, just in very simple terms, it's being relaxed about something. It's being okay about something. It's not, there is no fighting, no resistance. It does feel like you've just surrendered into it and you're content with it. You're okay with it. You're not wanting to change anything. There is no struggle, no striving. You're at peace about that thing. You're content. You're settled into it. You're relaxed into it. You've allowed yourself to sink into that situation and you've allowed it to just be what it is, to just be okay. Now, does that mean that you won't hear the voice of the mind fighting it and wanting to change it and arguing about it and resisting it? No. If you're still, you'll still hear, you're still attached to that mind voice that's still in the background. You can hear it. You can hear it, and it's say, like wanting you to do something about it, wanting you to change it, wanting you to take action, forcing you and pushing you, and you can hear that. But you're standing outside of that and saying, no, no, this is what it is. I'm not going to do what you're scaring me to do. I'm not going to listen to your fear around this. I'm not going to take the actions you tell me to take anymore. I hear you, and I hear you don't like this. Like, I'm very aware that you don't like this situation, but you know what? There's not a lot of situations you do like. There's not very many things you do approve of or agree with or label as good, or like, there's not a lot of that anyway. So, you know what? I hear you, but I'm just going to stay content. I'm going to stay content. Now, this is as good as in this moment, as good of a explanation of what it feels like and what you'll still be experiencing when you're in contentment. So you're content about a situation. Let's say it's about your body, okay? So your mind hates the way your body looks. Every time you look in the mirror, it picks you apart. It's talking to you about your saggy skin, or your stretch marks, or your cellulite, or your excess excess fat, or the your wrinkles, a gazillion things. Your mind, depending on the level of how critical it is, will pick you apart every time you look in the mirror. And we know it's not happy with your body. We get that. Totally get it. We know, we understand. We've heard it all. Yep, I hear you. And I know you don't like this body. You want it to be different. Well, the mind, if you are engaged with it and you're just solely in that space all the time, it will give you ideas and suggestions and tell you to do certain things, but they won't be the right things. And usually it's things that you will fail at, like that you can't maintain, you can't possibly do it over a long. It's not a life change. It's an in the moment, out of desperation and urgency, that you're doing this new diet, or you're doing this thing, or doing that thing. So it's the mind will give you ideas and suggestions, but it's never going to be something that is the perfect thing for you, or in the right timing, or something that you can actually maintain, or something that you can ease into. It won't be easy. It'll be struggle, and it'll be hard, and it'll be hard on you, and you'll be being hard on you the whole time you're doing it. And usually those things, we've all had those Monday morning moments where, like, yep, Monday morning, here we go. I got this, and we're going to do this now, and I've got my plan. I got my whiteboard, my 30 days marked off, and I'm ready to mark them off, and I got my Sharpie, and I wrote my goals down, and I'm ready, and I did everything my mind told me to do, and here we go. And then, you know, 7 days in, or maybe you make it 14 days in, and you're just tired of it. It's hard. There's nothing fun about it. You're having to force yourself. Your mind is forcing you. It it's just not the same as when you come out from that place of the mind and you're able to listen to the heart. And to do that, what we need to do differently this time is use contentment. And that will stir the mind up when you start doing that, and it will try to get you back, because you're saying, nope, I'm going to relax about this. And the heart's going to tell me what to do. The heart's going to show me in the right time, when it's time, when I'm ready, when it's something that I can actually do, when I've been prepared, when I've taken all the necessary steps that the heart will lead me through. The change will happen. And when you start to have conversations like that with yourself, the mind gets very, very stirred up and very, very scared. It says, "Oh, you can't trust that. You can't you can't trust that. Like, you must do something now, and you can't wait. And what if it never tells you anything? What if you don't know how to listen to it? What if, what if, what if, what if, what if?" That's the mind trying to get you back. It's scaring you and saying you can't trust that. You don't know what's going to happen. So this is the challenge when you're going to do things a new way this time, is to say, you know what? Maybe I don't have a lot of experience listening to my heart. Maybe I don't know what that feels like yet. But I know if I stay relaxed and content about this situation, about my body, we're just going to use that as an example, about my body. If I can just say, you know what, this is my body, and this is what it is, and I accept all of it. Like, I accept the cellulite. I accept that my pants don't fit. I can't button them anymore. I accept that I've gained weight. I accept that I continue to gain weight every day, it feels like. I accept that when I look in the mirror, my mind attacks me and shames me and guilts me, I accept all that, and I allow it, and I'm just going to relax into where I am. You don't have to, your mind doesn't, like a lot of the mistakes that we make is to think, okay, well, I've got to love that. I've got to, meaning the mind. The mind's got to love that before I can make progress. The mind's not going to love that. That voice in your head is not going to love that. So we can just go ahead and say, you know what? It's not about that. It's a different kind of love. It's an unconditional state. It's saying, whether this body that I'm in is 200 pounds overweight, 2 pounds overweight, not overweight, underweight, whatever state my body is in, I unconditionally love it. The mind's the kind of love that we try to do when we're living in the mind is to look at ourselves in the mirror and force the mind to love something that it absolutely hates and just criticizes. So we're trying to get the mind to love something, and that's not a possibility. We have to step outside of the mind and its good and bad and right and wrong and its judgment and criticism of everything. You don't find real love in there anyway, of anything or anybody. You can't love unconditionally while you're living in your mind, while you're living solely in your mental space. You just can't do it. It's not possible. We can only have that unconditional love and acceptance when there is no judgment or good or bad. We're just saying that's what is. And unconditionally, it's okay. It's okay. It's accepted. I have no judgment of it. It's what it is. And I'm okay with that. That's contentment. That's acceptance. That's unconditional love. I'll do more talks about love and how our mind's idea of love and what love really is. But yeah, so that's going to be how we're going to do this differently this time. We're going to come at it from a place of contentment, and we're going to relax about whatever state we're in. Now, this doesn't have to be about your body. It can be about money. It can be about relationships. It can be about some aspect of your health. It can be about, well, those are pretty much the main topics. Your career. It can be about whatever your mind is like, oh, this is not okay. This must change. This is bad. This is bad. This is bad. Like whatever it is saying is not enough. It should be different. This should change in some way. Whatever that topic is for you, you're going to come to a place of saying, you know what, that even though my mind wants it to change so bad, this is what it is. Here we are, and you know what, I'm going to let it be okay. Just like I'm going to let myself be okay and know that I'm already okay, I'm going to let this thing that my mind hates and criticizes so much, I'm going to let it be okay. I'm going to give some space around it. So you can even imagine that you put whatever that topic is for you in the center of your mental house. And I want you to just put some space around it. Just like back the mind off of it. Say, you know what? Give it some room to breathe. Give it some space. Take the pressure off of this thing. Okay? Take the tremendous fear and pressure off of this topic in your life and let it breathe. And then we're going to open the doors to the outside, and we all know what's out there. It's that air of unconditional love and acceptance, and that's going to fill that space and make that space even bigger. And soon, if you can hold this space around this issue in your life, you're going to find yourself hearing the voice of the heart. Now let's talk about that just a little bit. When you are consistently holding space around this, and what I mean by that is every time your mind brings this topic up as something that you hate or dislike or want to change, your comeback to that is, you know what? This is what it is, and the heart's going to guide me now. The heart's going to tell me when it's time. I'm going to let this be okay, and the heart's going to create the change. And it's going to be something that's enjoyable and fun, and something that I can actually do. And there'll be no failing and trying and struggling. It'll just be something that I can do. And there'll be an energy behind it that helps me do it. An energy that I don't have when I'm in the mind. I'm having to use the mind's own strength and willpower, which is not really that great. So I'll have an energy behind it that I don't normally have. And so it's going to happen. It's going to lead me to what I need and how it's supposed to be. Not my mind's idea of how it's supposed to be, but how it's supposed to be. And I'm going to let that be okay. When you hold this consistently, then every time you tell the mind that, every time it brings up this topic that it's absolutely so discontent about and hates so much and wants you to do some action, every time it brings that up, you're going to say, the heart's got this. I'm relaxed about this. It's okay. I'm going to let it go. And in the right time, I don't know how it will happen, but the heart will tell me and guide me. So I want to share just a little bit about my own personal story on how I did this. And I got to a point with my body. I felt the most unhealthy. I've never really been unhealthy. I've always had a fairly healthy body. I'm an activator or a mesomorph. I'd always just naturally moved a lot, and we have a higher metabolism, but we can gain weight around our thighs and our hips and our waist. And I had put on quite a bit, more than I'd ever had before. I am 46, and your mind says, oh, well, it's your metabolism, it's your age, it's your hormones, it's your this, it's your that. And so much information saying, I'm so confused. Oh, well, you're stuck with this now. You've gained this weight, and you won't be able to lose it now because you've gotten older, and it just is not going to come off, and all those things that the mind was saying to me. And I was like, you know what? It kind of did feel like, it will kind of feel like giving up, but you're not actually giving up. You're just giving in, and you're giving in to say, all right, heart, my mind has told me things and made me do all this crazy stuff for years now, and none of it's working, and I'm just gaining more weight, and I give in. Like, show me, I'm going to relax about this and just show me what I need to do. And so I'd gotten to that point, and I knew things needed to change. I knew that I'd been listening to my mind and trying all these crazy things, killing myself with high intensity cardio. My right knee crackles now every time I bend it because of so much jumping around and things like that. And I was like, you know what? Enough. It's enough. It's not working. I'm stressing my body out. I'm not losing weight. I'm staying the same. You know what? I just stop. I'm just going to stop this madness that my mind is making me do out of the idea that it's helping me and it's got the answers, and it doesn't have the answers. And I knew that, but I was still listening to it. So I was like, I'm done. This is it. I'm going to relax about my body. And I started doing that. And again, it's not like my mind liked what it saw in the mirror when it looked. And I would just listen to that and be like, you know what, I know you don't like it, but it's okay. This is what it is. I'm going to relax into this. I'm going to let this be what it is. I'm going to get some bigger pants. I'm going to put those bigger pants on, and I'm going to be comfortable, and I'm going to, just stay relaxed about my body. And I'm not going to, this is how I started. I'm not going to try to eat different things. I'm not going to do anything my mind has told me to do. I'm just going to relax about it and just go be normal. I'm just going to let it go and go be normal. And so that's what I did. And that didn't last very long, because then the more I was able to do that, I kept staying in that space of the heart about it. That's what staying in the space, when I say stay in the space of the heart, that's what that means. When you're telling the mind, I'm going to stay relaxed about something, you're staying in the space of the heart. All right, so I was staying there, and I was staying relaxed about my body, and I wasn't letting my mind tear me down about it and say, don't eat that and don't eat this and change this and go exercise. I can't believe you didn't exercise today. I just stopped. I was just like, I'm not listening to you anymore. I'm really not. You know what? I'm just going to go be what I would call normal. I'm just going to be relaxed like a normal person about weight and food. I'm just going to go be normal, whatever normal is. And I did. I just ate and slept and I didn't exercise. I wasn't doing anything. And it wasn't very long until, I don't even know how it happened, because I wasn't looking for it. There was no searching, no nothing. I just woke up one morning and I had the word pop into my head, flexibility. And I, was just thinking about that word, flexibility, and I was thinking about it more in emotional terms and being flexible with life and allowing things to, just kind of go with the flow and not be rigid. And I was thinking about all that. And then it was like, you know what? Since it all goes together, the mind, the body, and the spirit, and all that works together, I wonder if being more flexible would, like physically, would also help me be more flexible emotionally. And that was it. That was as simple as that. It was just a pondering. There's nothing stressful around it. The idea didn't come because I wanted to change my body in some way. Nothing like that. It was nothing about my body. It was more about an overall helping my mind, helping my emotions, helping, just other areas of my life with flexibility. And I was like, you know what? I can stretch. I think that might feel good. Just a nice, easy stretch. Maybe, and I didn't set a certain time of day. The mind always says, okay, you're going to do this at this time and this at this time, and it sets the schedules and the routines, and it's like, it wasn't like that. It was very easy. It's like, well, if I think about it during the day and I'm feeling like, getting my mind off the computer or getting my mind off on something else or just taking a break, I think I like to stretch. And that's how it started. And so I just started doing some stretches on my own, and then I thought, well, I don't really know any good, like I want to know some good stretches. So I started researching, I started Googling, I started looking up YouTube videos, I started trying to find out some good stretches. And then that led to, see, when the heart leads you and guides you, it's just one interesting thing leads to another interesting thing that you enjoy, and you find you like to read about it. You find it enjoyable, and then that leads to the next interesting thing, and then you get passionate about that, and you're like, oh, I love this. And you don't really realize what's happening, but you're getting healthier physically. It's really, the heart is so smart in how it guides us, because it's not forceful. It's almost like one of those really smart parents, that know if it was to tell you something a certain way that you would resist it and never want to do it. But if it tells you in a fun, easy, manageable way, it's something that you enjoy, that you'll actually do it. Well, the heart's like that. It is so intelligent. It is so smart, and it knows how to get us to exactly what we need in any area of our life when we decide to give up the mind's way of doing things. So I did that. I started looking up things to become more flexible, and that led to this yoga video. It's called Yoga with Adriene, and you may have seen these before. She's pretty popular on YouTube. And she was easy, you know what I mean? Like, she wasn't like, okay, we've got to do these yoga poses. It was not like any yoga that I'd ever. If somebody was like, okay, we'll just start doing yoga, I would have been like, ugh, no, God. And normally in the past, I'd be like, but that's not going to change my body. I'm not going to do that. So, but it wasn't anything about changing my body. I was looking for flexibility. And so my mind was open. And she was just doing very easy yoga and very easy stretching. And I was like, oh, that's fun. Like, and she was funny and I enjoyed it. And I was like, I can do that. And so I just started doing that with her. And something happened. The heart really took over at that point. And when I started stretching out my muscles, I noticed that I was becoming mentally clearer, emotionally clearer. I was releasing a lot of things that were keeping me very rigid, that were keeping me very reactive, upset. And I felt like, this is what I felt, that by stretching those muscles, I was releasing years of stored up emotion out of my body. And I was having very odd sensation. It was very, very weird. Like, I was having a lot of different energy running through my body. And something was changing. And it wasn't a physical thing. It was a spiritual thing. It was an emotional thing. It was a mental thing. And I was like, something's different. And I can't quite put my finger on it. But you know what? I'm going to keep up with this stretching. And so, and I kept doing the yoga with Adriene. And one day, this video came on right after, I watched YouTube and I just put it on my big TV. And so it was just playing, and it just played the next video that came up. And it was this girl who was doing Ashtanga yoga. And, oh gosh, what's her name? Anyway, oh my God, I was blown away by what this girl was doing. I didn't know you could do that with your body. I didn't know there was a kind of yoga like that. It was so, there was so much control. She had so much control over her body, so much flexibility, so much balance, so much of all the things that I was yearning for. I was like, oh my God. And something inside of me said, I can do that. I know that if you saw this video, you'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe you even had that thought. But it was like something, it wasn't my mind. It was like, it was like this deep down inside thing of so excited about this video. Laruga, that's her name. Laruga something. Incredible. She is amazing. And I watched this video over and over and over, and I shared it with so many people, and I was like, I can't believe what she's doing, and I'm amazed. And then I thought, she must be in like some Olympics for yoga or something, because this is impressive. And then I saw other people doing it, and I'm like, what? Like, this is an actual thing that people are doing with their bodies, and not just these young 20-year-olds, like 60-year-olds could do this stuff. And I was like, oh my God, that's what I want to do. And at that point, it became not about weight loss at all. It became about control and that balance and that flexibility and that strength that you could see in their bodies from being able to do these things. And that was what got me. And then that led to that led to, there's a pose in Ashtanga yoga where they do a handstand, and I wanted to do a handstand. Okay, I can do a headstand. I've just always been able to do one. Like, I used to do them all the time as a kid, and I could do that easily, but no way, couldn't do it. Like, I just couldn't do it. And so I became obsessed with doing a handstand. And so I was doing all this and not really even thinking about it, but I was toning my body by the different practices that you have to do. You have to get your arms stronger to be able to hold your body weight up. Your abs are being engaged a lot, your leg muscle, like all the muscles of my body were being engaged. But the point is, that wasn't the focus at all. The heart was leading me, and the whole time it was leading me, I was becoming more and more and more excited about the potential of my body, not about weight. It wasn't even a thing in my mind. It was more about that potential, and being able to control my body in such a way and have so much strength and flexibility and movement and balance. And that was the carrot, that was the thing that I was chasing and following. And so I was doing it. Like, nobody had to tell me, okay, get up and do your handstand practice. Like, I couldn't wait. Like, every day I couldn't wait to go do my handstand practice, which was, a type of exercise. Okay, so then let's see what happened after that. I did the handstands. I can do one now. I'm not quite away from the wall yet because I'm still scared I'll flip over, but I can go up without touching the wall and hold myself for quite a while in a handstand. Yeah. So then I'm still watching videos, right? I'm still watching the YouTube, and then I was watching these people doing these crazy challenges. They were doing challenges off of different diets, and I saw this guy. He did one that J-Lo had done before the last, I don't know what it was, the Grammys or some big show that she was on. I don't know, but she did it, and her trainer had her do it. And basically, she went off sugar and lowered her carbs really, really low. And so this guy was doing this challenge, and he was really funny and very entertaining. And he was doing the challenge, and he he went through ketosis, and he went through all the things. And it was something about that video that inspired me to look into that. It's like, well, what is that about? And then that led me to learn about macros. And then it was just one progression after the next. And then when I learned about those macros, that balance between carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, and I figured out what mine was, what that would be for me, which as an activator, that was 20 carb, 40 protein, 40 fat. I started logging my food on Lose It. And again, this wasn't even about weight loss, even though I figured I would lose weight. It was more about, there was a motivation for health, because I had been getting in touch with my body. I had been stretching my muscles and getting a lot of that emotional stored stress out of my muscles. I was becoming mentally clearer. I was getting stronger from doing my handstand practice. And it was just the next step. It was the next step that the heart gave me. Now, if it had given me that step as my first step, I probably would not have done it. No way. Like, it would probably been like, forget it, not happening. But because it didn't give me that till I was very excited and passionate about, re-engaging with my body again, getting to know my body again, becoming more flexible, meeting those little small goals like that, starting to be able to do a handstand, like all those things that I had to do the fun, like it had to be fun first. And then my heart said, okay, Now let's just look a little bit about how much sugar you're eating. So, because my heart is smart and so is yours, it saved that to a very, very far in the future. So all of this is over a 3-month time span, okay? And so that was probably I was probably a month into all of this before it even brought up food. And then I learned about the macros and I wasn't watching calories. I wasn't running every day. I wasn't doing a high intensity cardio, nothing like that. I was just doing my handstand practice, doing a little stretching, doing a little Ashtanga yoga. All I can do is the sun salutations 1 and 2, but I will be progressing surely soon. But, yeah, I wasn't doing all that. It's just like, okay, just watch your balance, get your balance. And I did, and that's when the weight started melting. And then the handstands became easier because I, wasn't having to fling so much of that lower body fat up in the air to do a handstand. Didn't have to hold up as much weight, so everything became lighter and easier. That is a little bit about my story. The point of all of that is, even though I'm giving you all this information and I'm trying to tell you what my journey was and what my progress was, I don't want you to feel like you've got to do it that way, because your heart has a plan for you. Your heart has the perfect way that it knows you'll be able to do and you'll be able to stick with, and I want that for you. So if I can just help you to find contentment and relax about whatever this area is in your life, the heart then is going to guide you to what you need to know. So it's not so much about what I know and what I went through and how I did it, even though that might help you, which is why I've shared so much of it. And I've shared about the macros, and I've shared about the sugar, and I've shared about all those things that the heart taught me through my own journey. I want the heart to teach you for your personal journey to joy. I want the heart to show you your first step. So to get your first step from the heart, you need to come to a place of settling in and relaxing about whatever it is your mind is absolutely hating about your life right now and is so upset and wanting to change. Come to a place of relaxing. Hold that place by saying, you know what, I know you're upset, mind, but the heart's going to give me my first step, and I trust that. If I stay relaxed about this, the heart it'll show me my first step. It won't be my last step. There'll be many, many, many steps that lead up to many, many different things that I'll be doing, but it'll show me my first step, and I guarantee you to be something that you can do, something that's enjoyable, something that's manageable, something you get excited about, something that's fun, because your heart is smart.